Hi, I'm Vivian Guzman and welcome to Dishin'it. My guest today is a success by all standards. He's a double, triple threat actor, singer, dancer, advocate, speaker, award-winning author. He's the ambassador to Parfums de Marley. He's been on BBC TV, ITV, that's Manchester TV News. He's known as the Blind Poet. His name is Dave Steele. And today we're gonna make some chicken and shrimp paella to celebrate a memorable time when he was in Spain. Olé! Welcome to Dishin'it. I'm Vivian Guzman. Life hasn't always been easy. I have felt alone, displaced, like an outsider. The world needs a place of belonging, which is why I created Dishin'it.
Cheers!
On Dishin'it, I cook foods from around the world. My guests share their stories, and we inspire the world.
The reason I save marriages past, present and future is because I want it to be that lovely, cute 80-year-old couple that you see still holding hands is the norm. Welcome to Dishin'it.
Hi, Dave! Welcome to Dishin'it.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm very, very good.
Well, I'm very excited either way that you're here with me on Dishin'it. I'm mostly excited because we're gonna make chicken and shrimp paella, which you used to make when you lived in Spain. But I got my paella pan ready, baby. So let's turn this on. And I hope you're ready because we're gonna cheers because we can't have paella without drinking some nice wine.
Always ready for a cheers.
Hold on a second.
Wine.
Cheers. I really wish you were here right now.
Me too.
Because you're
Me
so
too.
gonna miss out on this beautiful food. I bet you're wondering like what's gonna happen with all this food when I'm done because this is gonna be a huge pot. But all the leftovers, my family's gonna be the recipient of it. And my mom actually has cone rod dystrophy and macular degeneration.
I also realised that like from when we first started speaking, when we met at the Unblinded event at the beginning of the year, that I knew instantly that there was a kind of connection there between the two of us with regards to low vision. And there was a reason why, you know, you were drawn to kind of the stuff that I was speaking about in my poetry and why it meant so much to you. It really, you know, confirmed what I sort of already knew in my heart, that there was a reason why these words were connecting with you in the way that they did.
You're not supposed to be making me cry right before I start making paella right now.
It's what I do, so don't complain.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start this because this takes a little while. So I know that the first things that we do is to put the onion and garlic to cook. Do you have any preference for which way I should start, garlic or onion?
No, one of the reasons I love cooking paella is the fact that, you know, once you've done your prep, and I think the prep is the most important part of it, you know, it's about chucking it all in. It's been a massive, really special dish for me anyway, because not only was I taught it, you know, when I was a singer working in Mallorca, but when myself and my wife, Amy, when we first met, it was the first dish I cooked her. When I started to lose my sight because of it, you know, it being one of these dishes that you can just kind of throw things into the pan and cook, and I don't have to be too specific on measurements and things like that. It's one of the dishes that I still like to cook for the family. And, you know, my wife is one of these people that, Amy, she says to me, you know, while I can still do things with the limited vision that I've got, do it. So I read bedtime stories for my son if the text is big enough, and I cook as much as I can. In fact, I would say I do the majority of the cooking in the house. So yeah. I still have accidents. I burn, like, you know, things. And
don't we all have accidents, whether we can see or not? This is so awesome. Okay, so go back to Spain for me. You were what, like 24 years old? You were a dancer. What was your life like then?
So yeah, well, I was a singer and a dancer, but mainly a singer. I did a year dancing in Ibiza, working for the nightclubs. But when I was in Mallorca, I'd worked as a singer on cruise ships and like hotels abroad, touring around. It was all covers, but singing like Motown, soul stuff, and yeah, just tourists that went on a holiday to Spain, and we'd come and entertain them.
I love it. Now I'm gonna go ahead, and I know that you can't see, but
so you've got the onions and the garlic in there.
I did.
Put the chorizo in first.
I kind of went garlic, onions, bell peppers.
Okay, bell peppers is fine. Now put the chorizo in then. That's fine. It still works the same way. The reason why I put the chorizo in early is because when you add the rice in and the chicken, it kind of, the colour from the chorizo kind of colours and flavours the rice and the chicken.
Well, I'm also going to add a little bit of tomato paste, and I'm going to add some beautiful saffron.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
What else? So tell me about RP. Tell me about your diagnoses. When did that start? Did that start when you were in Spain?
No, so I did, years of singing. Ended up living in Scotland and went into car sales for a while, settled down, and had a daughter.
What's your daughter's name?
She's Ellie.
Ellie. Okay.
Ellie Darling Steele. So I had Ellie in my early 30s, and things didn't work out with her mum. So I moved back to Manchester, and I was working as a singer at the same time, and I took a sales job to make sure I had enough money to drive up to Glasgow to go and see Ellie and try and start again, because I kind of walked away from that relationship, with nothing. And one of the guys who I was working with said to me, "Yo, you should kind of go online and try the online dating scene, because that's the way things are these days." And I was like, really? I put a profile picture, which was the strangest profile picture to have, because it was basically me backstage at some gig that I was at with an Elmo head on this dating website.
I can't believe that you wearing an Elmo head is going to attract a lot of people.
Absolutely. And the first message I got was from Amy, my wife. And we hit it off big time. That first night we fell in love. And what happened was, a few months later, Amy fell pregnant. And in 2013, Austin was born. It was just amazing. And our life was complete and everything was great. And Christmas Day 2013, I proposed. And she said yes, and everything was great. And we'd set the date for the following New Year's Eve, 2014. Started the year saving for our wedding. Everything was good, a new cycle of my life. And in March, I walked into a routine eye test. And they looked in the back of my eyes and they said, "The pigment's really thick. Your eyes are really declining, and you've got retinitis pigmentosa."
Wow. You went from the biggest high of your life.
Yeah.
Baby, engagement, marriage, and happy family, starting anew. The future's yours, and 3 months later, boom, RP.
Everything was good, and I had to walk out and tell Amy that I had to kind of stop driving, and she had to drive back, and we had to tell my job, and my job let me go because I was working in car sales and I couldn't do test drives, and I had to cancel all my gigs because I couldn't drive myself to my gigs anymore. I couldn't drive to pick up my daughter from Scotland, and it just my whole world fell apart. We couldn't afford the rent. We were falling into debt. We had to feed our kids on food parcels while this was going on, and I was losing my sight more dramatically, very quickly in a very all my peripheral vision, so like a tunnel going inwards, went within the first kind of 6-8 months of me getting that diagnosis. And I was struggling with anxiety and depression, not only for the sight that I was losing, but also for the financial pressure I was putting on my family.
So things were dark for some time. How did things change for the better?
I'd lost my confidence. I'd lost my independence. I'd lost my pride. But the biggest thing it kind of took from me was my purpose. So I jumped onto Facebook and joined some RP support groups, started speaking to people on there. And this is where I had that kind of eureka moment that changed everything for me. Was the night before going to that event, that support group, I'd agreed to be the singer, and I was in bed going over ideas of songs to sing. And I had this moment where I thought, what a great idea it would be to have a song that everyone knew, but to change the words so it would have more of an emotional response, more of an impact. So I chose the song "Stand By Me" by Benny King. My wife was Amy, we were engaged at the time. It's before we got married. She was in bed next to me, and I remember kind of nudging her and saying, I've just had this amazing idea and it's going to change everything. She was like, shut up, Dave, or I'll go to sleep. And I rewrote the song in about 20 minutes and I performed it that following day. And when I sang that song, people were in tears in the room, and they said to me, I was able to describe how they felt about sight loss. It made them feel like they were less alone. And all of a sudden, I got my purpose back.
Okay, so I gotta hear this now.
Now you put me on the spot.
Yeah?
So you want me to sing it for you, dear?
I mean,
Okay.
please,
So yeah,
a little bit.
I can do that. So the first verse is the same as the original, okay? And then the second verse I wrote was, when your eyes are almost gone and lives grow dark, we are blind even though we still see. No, we won't be afraid. We won't be afraid, for together we will beat this RP. And it kind of went on from there. There you go.
Oh my God, your voice is so beautiful.
It just kind of...
I picked something up from what you were saying. You were saying in your song, there's a way to misconstrue that you could see or not see. That's kind of like what I was feeling.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, for most people watching this video now, watching us, a lot of people say, oh, you don't look blind. A lot of people out there have these common misconceptions that you are either completely blind or not at all. Now, that's nobody's fault, but the problem with it is when people are misunderstood and they don't realize that there's many different shades of blindness. Unfortunately, what that does is that isolates a lot of people like myself, because there's fear of being judged when they're out there. So yeah, that's a big kind of message in everything that I write, and certainly with that first song.
I have an idea, Dave. Let's go into the other room. The paella needs to simmer and finish cooking. I'm gonna make sure to add the peas right now, and I will add the shrimp, but let's go into the other room and let's talk a little bit more about the poetry and have a glass of wine. What do you say?
Sounds fantastic. Let's do that.
Oh my goodness, let's take a look at that beautiful shirt I'm looking at. It says BP. Dave Steele.
Are you loving the merch?
Oh my God, how could I not? This is so awesome. I want one. So what else do you have?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, the merchandise was not my idea, but it's kind of the American thing to do. So everything really in one place. It's my website, which is theblindpoet.net. It's theblindpoet.net. And we have a merchandise section that sells t-shirts and mouse mats and hoodies and coffee mugs, and at one point they had a bath mat and a shower curtain, but we've got rid of those now. But so yeah, the Blind Poet logo, actually, which I love the design so much, I actually got this tattooed on my arm. The BP, the dots that you can see there in the B and P are actually the Braille alphabet for letters B and P for Blind Poet.
I love it. So tell me about your poetry. How did you become an award-winning poet?
To be honest, the easiest answer and the truthful answer with that is with the support of the low vision community. I never had a publisher. All my books are self-published. I never had a marketing department before I released these books. It was all from posting poetry online, on Facebook, on some of the RP and low vision support groups, and all these people that could relate to it were the ones that shared my poetry, and I built up this following slowly to the point where when the first book came out in 2016, Stand By Me RP, it was the #1 European poetry release on Amazon in both America and Australia. And then Volume 2 and Volume 3 went on to do exactly the same thing. So it's down to the support. Yeah, there it is.
I didn't know if you could see it. I was about to tell you.
Yeah, I'll adjust. My vision's not great today. But yeah, the third one there is kind of my favourite, because I'd honed my craft by the third one.
So tell me about The Secret.
Yeah, one of two poems that I wrote specifically for Ellie and Austin. There's one called Shift This Cloud in Volume 2, which is about Austin, and The Secret is about Ellie. I carry obviously a guilt naturally about Ellie, that the fact she could go blind when she's older, but also being away from her and not being in constant communication. It's about when's the right time to have that discussion with her that she could go blind when she's older. How old is old enough? Too soon and you wreck a childhood and cause problems and break trust, and that's what The Secret is all about.
Why don't you recite some of it for us, Dave?
Of course. This is called The Secret. It took me years to come to terms with how my eyes declined, through stages of acceptance, of slowly going blind, but nothing I could ever do would allow me to prepare to tell my little girl a thing I still don't want to share. It's tortured me through sleepless nights, consumed my mind with guilt. The secret I have kept from her could break the trust I've built. I pray that she will understand the things I've tried to do, and why I've never told her that she could be 1 and 2. For she is still a child and far too young to burden with a fate that I might pass to her, for now is her time to live. But soon will come a moment when I know she must be told. When all the battles I have won, I'll pass for her to hold. But for every unheard question, there's an answer I've prepared. They're written in each line, each verse, each poem that I've shared. For every page I've filled, I've emptied out my heart and soul, so one day she would know the way. That's always been my goal. So Ellie, I hope years from now, you'll be there reading this. Know you can do amazing things, whether RP hit or miss. My inheritance to you won't be a passed down faulty gene, but knowing all life's beauty that this VIP has seen.
If she comes to you with questions and she's sad or confused or bitter, you say you have answers for all of that.
Yeah, and in everything that I write, yeah.
So what would be your answer to that if she's like, why me?
You could say why me in life for a lot of things, and we have our challenges and our challenges make us stronger. I've talked about it in every interview I've done, and I think I mentioned it at the beginning of this one, is that I'm a strong believer that everything that we go through in our past gives us the ability to face the things and the challenges we yet to face going forward. And Ellie will be a stronger person for anything that she has to face, and she will know through me that no lack of sight can ever do anything to hold back the vision in here. Or in here.
Wow, that's just beautiful. Are you excited about the paella or what? I mean, we have to try it.
Absolutely, let me see.
Aren't you just dying to have some paella with me?
If I could reach down the phone, I'd be having it right now.
Let me go get it. Hold on a second.
Absolutely.
I couldn't even wait to sit down. I cooked down, I added some ghee. It's so tasty, it's so creamy. Do you know why I love you so much, Dave?
Go on.
Go ahead, tell me why you love me. Okay.
Yeah,
I love you for so many reasons. You move me. You move me because of your fight. You move me because no matter what has happened to you, you just keep going. And seeing you vulnerable, but fighting through is so courageous. Like, you could easily fold, but you don't. You keep finding a new way. You keep writing and pouring out your heart and your vulnerability and everything that I saw here, all of the range of emotions that you have, understandably so with what you're doing. It just makes you even more lovable. Like you, I also wanted to sing and started out my life singing, acting. I haven't written any poetry though, I tell you that right now, but I think your poetry sings loudly for you. And I think the fact that you continue to expand what your dreams are, Parfums de Marley, films, everything as you're losing your sight, you're such a beacon of hope to people who can see and people who can't see. But you're just a shining example of the finest of what humanity has to offer. So I am drawn to you, your energy, your beauty, your soul, and you're such an inspiration. So I thank you for being you, and for
That's very kind.
And for, taking a chance in the pursuit of your dreams, celebrating love, diversity, and inclusion. That's what my show Dishin'it is all about. And you are like the poster child for it, baby. I love you.
Love you too, darling.
Love you. Thank you so much for being on Dishin'it.
Thank you for having me.